Hi folks, Frank the Pest Geek here. I'm the host of the Pest Geek podcast, and welcome to the DIY Pest Control podcast, where we teach you how to effectively and efficiently control pests in your home. And what I want to do today is I want to discuss with you integrated pest management. What is integrated pest management, and how come I don't know about it? Well, the reality is integrated pest management has been around for over 50 years. Integrated pest management is the standard in world-class facilities, hospitals, laboratories, private schools, public schools. It is recommended by the American Veterinary Association, the Pediatric Association. It is also recommended by the Asthma and Allergy Foundation because it is the safest around children and pets. So again, why don't you know about it? Well, the reality is when you're shopping for pest control, you're asking for prices. You're not asking for the safest service. You're not asking for the safest and most effective around. You're not asking for the best. You're comparing prices, and companies are competing purely on pricing. So if you want the best pest control in your home, you need to ask for an integrated pest management service. And what we're trying to do is educate people on what real pest control is. Real pest control is not the application of chemical. So when I get a call from my typical client, calling on the phone, looking us because they found us on Google, or they found us on Facebook, or they found us somewhere on the internet, they will say, I need you to come and spray my house for bugs. I need you to come and fumigate. You know, that's the typical, when somebody thinks about pest control, they think about spraying a chemical. Well, with today's technology, with today's modern products, and the evolution of integrated pest management, which is a holistic pest control service that takes into account the person, the pets in their home, the property, the plants around their home, and takes a holistic view of the environment. This is what IPM does. IPM allows us to use the lowest risk method by performing other services like exclusion and keeping those pests out of the home so that a chemical doesn't have to be used all the time. This is what is used again in all types of high-level facilities where you cannot contaminate the environment with a traditional spray service because we don't know if people there are sick. We don't know if the equipment, like a surgical room. I mean, can you imagine spraying the surgery center where it's supposed to be sterile? Nobody would ever do that, but nobody ever thinks of that because nobody is in that environment. As professional pest control people, we are responsible for protecting the most important environment of all, the indoor air quality in your home and in your business. And this is why I want to take the time to do this webinar to show you what integrated pest management is and why it should be in your home and why you should be asking for it. And you should be educated on integrated pest management, because there's people that call things integrated pest management, but mixing chemicals together and integrating chemicals is really not integrated pest management. Integrated pest management is finding a way, first of all, to identify the pest problem, figure out how that pest is getting into your home, and if at all, prevent it from happening again so that we don't have to keep applying chemicals. Now, whether we apply baits or we apply sprays, they're still chemicals. The idea that baits have a reduced risk. So if we can control that pest problem with a bait station and never have to contaminate your surface, the air, your floors, your utensils with a traditional spray service, and we can achieve the control just as effectively and as efficiently as with the spray. In most cases, it is proven today that spray services do not control anything inside the home. All they do is contaminate your surfaces and your air quality. So by doing this podcast, by doing this type of webinar, We hope that we can educate people on natural pest control because IPM, Integrated Pest Management, is what is used in organic facilities. They don't spray mint oil in organic facilities. You can't solve a lot of these problems with mint oil. That's not what it's about. What it's about is understanding the pest biology, understanding the construction, understanding the customer, understanding all the holistic environment that we're involved in to be able to come up with a holistic solution to solve that problem with the least amount of chemical. And the goal of IPM is, if we don't have to even use the chemical at all, not to use it. So let me get into the webinar, and I'm going to get started with this. Okay, so here we are at the EPA website where it discusses integrated pest management. This is what the Environmental Protection Agency says is the best option for pest control. And what we're going to understand that it's a principle-based system, not a tactical-based system. Let's read what integrated pest management is. Okay. Integrated pest management, IPM, is an effective and environmentally sensitive approach to pest management that relies on the combination of common sense practices. IPM program use current comprehensive information on the life cycle of the pest, their interaction with the environment, the information in combination with available pest control methods is used to manage pest damage by the most economical means with the least possible hazard to people, property, and the environment. So that is just a brief definition of what integrated pest management is. So integration of different techniques, not just chemicals, to control the problem. Well, only a really trained integrated pest management or holistic pest management professional can really perform this service. When you ask most people in the industry, what is integrated pest management? Most are going to say, well, we just rotate the chemicals so we don't get resistance. Well, that's not integration. That is chemical rotation. And understand that integrated pest management philosophy comes from agriculture. So now we have to use it in an urban setting where you and I live. Well, let's look at that. Here we have, I'm going to get over here, and it is now used in healthcare facilities. Now, these publications that I'm showing you are industry publications. These are what, if you were in the hospital business, if you're in the medical field, if you run a medical facility, you're going to be reading these publications. Well, healthcare facility specific pest management. Now, understand the term that is being used is pest management. You're saying, well, I don't want my pests managed. I want them gone. Understand that this is the scientific term that is taught at universities, that is taught at pest control training. It is pest management, not pest control. Pest control is a marketable term. The scientific term is really pest managed because pests cannot be eradicated from an environment. They are managed. The way we keep them under control is periodic inspections, understanding the environment, understanding how they're getting in, understanding how to head them off and control them in the most economical way possible that doesn't cause damage to the environment. In this case, a healthcare facility, a patient. So this is why I'm doing this series, and we're going to be looking at this of what it says about pest management. Healthcare facilities come in more varieties and serve a wider array of functions than ever before. Nursing homes and assisted living facilities play a much different role than doctors' offices and clinics. Outpatient centers and hospitals can be different than they are alike. And that's just from looking at the patients these facilities serve. When looking at the operations of these facilities, the variances are even starker, but some differences are a bit more subtle. So we get into what it is. It explains it, and then here is where it comes. Defining the treat. while integrated pest management, IPM, has become the healthcare industry standard. Okay, so understand that IPM is the healthcare industry standard. The question I ask to you is, if this is the industry standard for healthcare, why isn't this in your home? Why are you asking for a spray service? Why? Because for 50 years, all you've ever heard of is a spray service. You see the commercials on television. Spray the bug, bring the can. And here's what most people think. If the pest control guy did not spray my home, I did not get value. Well, understand that in integrated pest management, spraying is really the last option. When we study it and we understand it from an entomological perspective, that means the knowledge of the insect and how that insect behaves in the environment, then we can understand that an integrated pest management practitioner or holistic pest management practitioner has to have a lot more training. If you think of the guy spraying, well, heck, you can spray your own house for bugs. You don't need me to go there and do that for you. What you need is for me to help you keep those bugs out and not contaminate your home. Same way in a facility. So what we're looking at here now is, let's look at it in schools. This is, let me show you here. This is from the University of Florida, National School IPM. And what we see here, and I'm going to bring this over a little bit so that we can see it on this side and we can read it. The Florida School IPM Industry Task Force has developed best management practice tailored for Florida pest conditions. Understand that it's tailored to our pest conditions. We have humid environments. We have very rainy environments. We have invasive species. So this program teaches professional pest control people and educates schools and educates administrators on what the best management practices are. They are intended to help you design an integrated pest management program for your school. And it discusses bed bugs. So here, the links are there. This is not something that we're talking about spraying mint oil. We're talking about the safest possible pest control. And what we do at Nature Pest is we take all of this industry knowledge from all of these facilities, and now we bring it over into your home, giving you the best possible control with the least amount of contamination. So now it's the standard in schools. So now we go up here and we talk about pediatrics. Well, this is from the American Academy of Pediatrics, and it talks about reducing exposure to pests and pesticides in family share childcare homes. Well, let's talk about what they say. What does the American American Academy of Pediatrics says? And I'm kind of in the way of this document, so let me see if I can bring it down a little bit. Right there, and then we'll read that together. Well, children exposed to pesticides early in life are at risk for long-term cognitive, neurological, respiratory, and developmental problems. This is the American Academy of Pediatrics saying this. This is not me. Chronic exposure to indoor residential pesticides in early childhood is associated with increased risk of developing childhood leukemia and lymphoma. Young children are more vulnerable to the harmful health effects of pesticide compared with adults due to their body size, behavior, physiologic development, and exposure through multiple routes and pathways. To reduce young children's exposure to pests and pesticides, an integrated pest management IPM intervention was developed and pilot tested for family child care home providers. And then so we discussed that IPM is what they are recommending. It is not a general pesticide application because children are more susceptible neurologically to pesticide because they have not developed completely yet. So the question I keep asking is, why isn't this taught? Why isn't this marketed? Why isn't this being told to everybody when this is the standard in facilities pest control? And why do you accept a substandard pest control in your home? Let's look at the AVMA. This is the American Veterinary Medical Association. It clearly recommends integrated pest management for pets. People ask me all the time, are your products safe? Well, it's not about the products. It's about the process. It's about the integrated pest management process that we have that makes it the safest around children and pets, not the products. So AVMA supports science-based integrated pest management, IPM programs and practices by pest management professionals, veterinarians, and their clients by the general public. IPM is a component of One Health. IPM includes coordinated use of pest and environmental information along with the available pest control methods, physical, structural, mechanical, biological, and chemical, to prevent unacceptable damage by pest and pesticide resistance while minimizing the risk to people, animals, the environment, non-target species, and property. So there you go. So if you want the safest pest control in your home, it's really not about spraying menthol. If you have cats and you spray products like Essentria inside your home, your cats will go insane. See, it isn't about switching from chemicals to, 25B mint oil and thyme oil. We do use that in integration. However, we don't apply that to the inside of homes because dogs and cats are highly sensitive to hot oils. They're not the best thing for them. The best thing for them is an integrated pest management approach. So now we get into the Asthma and Allergy Foundation. Can reducing cockroaches in the home improve asthma outcome? Well, it's a rhetorical question. The answer is yes. We were part of an asthma and allergy study that we performed in the inner city where it proved that integrated pest management, our program, reduced greatly the allergens by getting rid of the roaches without the chemical because these kids already had asthma. Asthma is a complex, highly prevalent disease that causes substantial morbidity. Exposure to cockroaches in the home is related to severe asthma outcomes, and reducing exposure to cockroaches is an important asthma management strategy. Integrated pest management, IPM, is the recommended strategy for cockroach control. However, it is costly and difficult to implement. Okay, so let me address this because the reason why you're calling around for prices and you're comparing is because you're asking, how much do you charge to do a roach service in my home? You're not asking for an integrated pest management service. So people are all selling you what they think you want, which is a low price service. When we institute an integrated pest management program, the initial cost is higher. It is 2 to 3 times higher than the competition because we're taking into consideration that it takes longer to do. It is more complex to do. However, in the long run, the cost is actually comparable on maintenance to every other company. Maybe we're in 20 to 30% more. But in the long run, you have the benefits, the health benefits of what is the price long-term on the health benefits of not applying a pesticide to the inside of your home when there's nothing there and preventing it with other methods. This is the whole premise of IPM. Now it says the impact of reducing cockroach on asthma outcome has been studied. It is well documented. If you go to Google Scholar and you input IPM for roaches, you're going to find all the protocols, which is the protocols we use based on those studies. We understand we're not going off the marketing off of Google. We're going off of the scholarly studies that have been documented to show, and we have empirical proof that this works because we've actually done it for almost a decade. So now let's talk about other facilities. Let's talk about food safety. This is for people that operate food plants, okay? And when you operate a food plant, you can't have rats and mice in those plants because you will get the USDA inspector in there and actually force you to have to control that problem. So integrated pest management procedures to protect food safety. This is in plants. Well, pest management is a critical component of food safety programs worldwide. Production facilities, as well as food retail facilities and restaurants, are all at risk for attracting such pests as rodents, cockroaches, ants, birds, due in large part to the very nature of their business. These facilities provide the ideal conditions many pests need to thrive: food, water, and shelter. Guess what? If we eliminate the access, okay, to this, then through different process to our integrated pest management process, we greatly reduce pests in the home where we rarely have to treat the inside of any home. All right, so now what we're talking about is integrated pest management in food safety. Well, if it is what is done in hospitals, it is what is done in medical facilities, it is what is done in schools, and the American Veterinary Association says it's what's recommended, and the Pediatric. I keep asking, why don't you know about it? Why isn't it in your home? Now we're talking about hotel and catering. Well, you can't have bugs in hotels because high-end hotels will lose clients if it gets out that they have roaches. So here is he says, Bulker World Holdings CEO Michael Bayoud speaks about how hotel, let me reduce this here a little bit, can tackle the issue of pest management. The hospitality industry is booming. The flow of guests, employees, and goods coming in and out is constantly raising and triggering a higher risk exposure to pest infestations. In a competitive environment where reputation is of the utmost importance, hotels place a very high standard on guest experience, and any sign of pest infestation is detrimental to business. Such as proactive pest management is crucial to providing clean, safe, hygienic environment for our customers. So what does he say about this? Well, let me go here, and there you go. Due to the large size and complexity of hotels and high turnover of food and guests, it is essential to provide a high quality service in a very efficient manner. Integrated pest management, IPM, is a fast, effective strategy to resolve all pest-related challenges. So it's safer, it's fast, it's effective, it's detrimental if they get pests. You don't have the dynamics in your home that most hotels have, that most restaurants have. Yet, you want a safe and effective method. IPM provides that safe and effective method, and it provides a quick result for the client. It has to be handled in a quick way. They can't wait to get this thing done. All right, so let's look at, there's another article by Hotel, and this is a going green. So now we have going green with pest management. Oh, well, IPM is green. Well, why? IPM, it says here, this is for LEED buildings. If you're not familiar with LEED buildings, let me bring this down so you can see it. An effective IPM program can earn LEED credits and increase sustainability efforts. Okay, so if you're not familiar with LEED, LEED is the U.S. Building U.S. Green Building Council program for establishing what is known as LEED. And LEED is their program. So if you've got a green or organic building, sustainable building, they're the ones that do the certification for this. This is where we get our protocols from. They have the protocols already set up, and I'm going to show you that. So People say, I want a natural, I want an organic. Well, this is the most natural and organic program you're going to get for your home. There isn't anything really greener to control pests in your home. Let me show you this. This is Quality Assurance Food and Safety. Organic USDA. When it comes to organic USDA, you can get an organic fruit service. You just can't get an organic facility. So what is the next best thing? Well, organic pest management, a natural extension of IPM. Organic standards don't prohibit all pesticides, but they are to be the last resort after prevention, sanitation, exclusion, and physical eradication. When you call us 99% of the time, you're going to have a pest problem. We have to use certain chemicals. However, if I'm using a bait and I can solve that problem with 10 drops of bait, strategically placed where the ants are, do I need to spray your floors where your kids and your dogs are walking? The answer is no. Integrated pest management allows us to then seal off the home. We use things like foam sealant, which goes underneath your sinks where the roaches are hiding behind those walls. If we seal those walls and we put a non-toxic product back there, like let's say silica gel, which is non-toxic, amorphous silica gel is non-toxic, it will kill all the bugs inside that wall. The same as if we applied a pyrethroid dust. My question is, do we have to apply a pyrethroid dust if we can apply a silica gel and then seal it off so the bugs aren't coming back in? Well, yes, if we seal it off and we use a non-toxic product, what are the chances you're going to have an American cockroach coming back through that wall? We don't need to apply any more chemical after that to solve those problems. Now we're going into SF for the environment. The least toxic pesticides for green buildings. Look what San Francisco for the environment. This is the strictest. San Francisco has the strictest laws on pesticide use and for LEED buildings and green buildings. Look at what they say. Integrated pest management is an important component of green buildings. Do you want a green home? IPM is the most important component of green buildings. Inappropriate pest management approaches can degrade the indoor air quality and introduce asthma and other hazards and may result in inadequate control of pests. For these reasons, IPM is included in the U.S. Green Building Council's 2009 lead for the existing buildings and operations and maintenance of LEED EBOM certification. And when we look at what they've done is San Francisco has what is known as tiers, and they have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. What we focused on is using the least toxic products that they recommend, known as tier 3 products. This is what we use in the home in combination with the integrated pest management to bring the lowest toxicity possible. This is not a pie in the sky, hocus pocus, we're going to put tea leaves all over the place. This is what most people think about when they think about green pest control, when they think about eco-friendly pest control, when they think about organic pest control. IPM is the greenest that you can possibly get. So now we're talking about in LEED buildings. Well, here is where it's found. So you can look it up for yourself. Integrated pest management, indoor environmental quality. This is what it's really all about. And you can get 2 points for LEED. We do LEED buildings. We treat LEED buildings. Now, here's what is needed. And in a large building. So if you've got an office building and you want to say, hey, I've got an office building, I want to turn it into a green building. We've got an apartment building. We've got a condominium complex. Whatever it is, we can convert that to an IPM program from a traditional every door spray service, get you better control at about the same price on a long term as what you're paying now. So here's what it is. Have in place an integrated pest management plan for the building and the grounds within project boundary, the IPM must include the following: identification of the IPM team, identify roles, building management, pest management, contractors, maintenance staff, liaisons with building occupants. In other words, it's a collaborative effort. IPM is not about, well, I hired you to be the pest control guy and you better get rid of my bugs. If tenants don't cooperate, if maintenance doesn't cooperate, if maintenance doesn't pick up the trash when it falls on the floor and you leave it there, you're going to ask rodents to come in. All the rodenticide in the world isn't going to control rodents if there's trash on the ground. All of it isn't going to control roaches if you just don't pressure clean and wash that trash room, if you don't treat those trash chutes in a building, with an enzyme product to kill all that bacteria that's in those trash chutes. If you don't, have the right seals on the doors going in, and you have, mulch all over the place, and you're not taking care of that grounds outside properly, all the pesticide in the world isn't really going to control the problem. And so you can find and you can read this for yourself in your own time. I'm just giving you the links. I'm going to have links to all this available on this presentation in the video. So you will have all the links so you can link to them. You can study in your own time. You can verify that the information I'm giving you is solid. It's scientific. It's up to date. It's current, to the point. All right. So here I have an organic facility that is organic certified. And this is the protocol when we're trying to look for. So I'm going to show you to the section of pest control. And let me bring it up here. And you might not be able to see it. Let me see if I can. Here we go. And we have to go through this entire process of supplying to them with pest and pest control, maintaining the integrity of that organic product. Okay. And so we have to supply them with a list of all the products we're going to use. Well, guess what? We have a list of all the chemicals we're going to use, and we give them to all our clients. And we have on our website, if you go to naturepest.com/products, the list is there. There's a link to the product. There's a link to the label, a link to the SDS, but it's how we apply those products that makes the difference. It's the technique. It's the training, not the product itself. That is the secret, because integrated pest management practitioners must be highly trained compared to the person that just comes in and spray. I mean, really, how much training do you need just to spray every month? You can do that yourself. Why are you hiring a professional to do that? So this is what we do. This is the National Organic. Let me show you this. I'm going to bring it up here, and I'm going to give you a link to this so that you can see. This is the actual National Organic for USDA, for vegetables, for fruits. And this is the law. This is the actual federal law for organic certification and production. And there's a section for pest control. And really, under this particular, for organic facilities that actually are, that fruits and vegetables come in contact with stuff, the first thing that they recommend is boric acid. And we have a lot of boric acid products available to us to control roaches and ants. And then we can move up to a tier 3 product. So we're actually, most essential oils aren't in tier 3 because essential oils are allergens. They can cause allergies to people and trigger asthmas. This is why we don't spray them in there. People are saying, well, they're natural, they're generally regarded as safe, they're grass. Yes, they are, in the right context, in the right application. If we spray your yard, is one thing. As we spray your fruit trees, is one thing. As we spray your shrubs, is another thing. If we treat for mosquitoes and we use a garlic bait with sugar, that's all natural. Just because it's natural doesn't mean peanut butter is all natural. Yet some people have allergies to peanut butter where if you come in contact with, you get anaphylactic shock and you need to get an EpiPen. Well, a lot of natural products can trigger asthma, can trigger allergies. You can develop skin allergies to them. So just saying I want a natural service isn't really the solution. We try to educate our customers on this, of what are the options depending on the pest species, depending on the construction, depending on the condition. Think about it this way. If you have holes in your wall and you're getting rats going in, what is the most natural way to stop those rats? It's to seal the holes. So if you fix the holes with concrete, if you put the right screens, and you don't have the rats, you have natural pest control. IPM is natural pest control. If you implement all of the components, if you have doors in your home that have, go back over here where we're going to be looking at that. If you have holes and you have thresholds on your doors and you've got gaps this big, all of the pesticide in the world isn't going to stop that roach from coming in. If you fix that, you fix that threshold, you get a new threshold. The garage doors, you fix the seals on your garage door, you're going to have natural pest control. Exclusion is natural pest control, which is the thing that you can control, the thing you can do. So we depend on our customers cooperating with us in their control. It's just like the patient cooperating in his own recovery. You need to have, if you're dependent upon pills to lose weight and get you out of, if you can correct that problem with diet and exercise, isn't that a better option? Yes, it takes more work. Yes, it is more burdensome, but that is what natural pest control is. It does take more work. It does cost more. It's highly effective. Our customer satisfaction right now is about 95%. 95% of our customers, we don't have to retreat the inside of their home on an annual basis with our program. Once we get that solved, once we get that implemented, once we get a lot of things done, we really sometimes have to do a maintenance on the outside of the home. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of the DIY Pest Control Podcast. I'm Frank the Pest Geek, and until next time, I'm wishing you a pestacular day.